हरि ओम। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। Welcome to yet another session of Ola Sanskrit Sahitya, and we just started last Sunday Madhyama-vyayoga, one more one-act play by Mahakavi Bhasa. Madhyama-vyayoga, we explained, we just saw through the different interpretations of the title, and the theme is basically a creation of the fertile imagination of Mahakavi Bhasa, though the sources we can find in fragments in the Mahabharata original as well as the Shunashepa Akhyana of Aitareya Brahmana. We started with the Mangala Shloka, and after reciting the Mangala Shloka, the Sutradhara says, Aye kinnu khalu mayi vidnyapana vyagre shabdaiva shruyate, and he will go and check what is that shabda. The shabda which he hears is Konu khalu eshah, Bhostata Konu khalu eshah, and Sutradhara immediately identifies from the sound, from the way it is recited, that it must be a Brahmana Putra. Bho shabda uchcharanadasya brahmanoyam na samshayah. Bho shabda, by mere listening to the utterance of the word bhoho, he could identify the speech to be articulation of some Brahmana. Brahmanoyam na samshaya. And there is some little bit of fear, the Brahmana is terrified at something, that also he could identify from the swara. Trasyate nirvishankena kenachit Papa Chetasa. This Brahmana surely is trasyate, is being frightened. Bhishyate. Trasyate nama bhishyate, he is being frightened, terrified by Papa Chetas, by someone who has some evil intention. Papam Chetasi yasya saha Papa Chetas. And that Papa Chetas, whosoever that person may be, he is nirvishankena, without any hesitation, without any fear, without any even apprehension how he will be perceived, how he will be taken by the others who are listening. Nirvishankena nirbhayaha saha swayam Papa Chetaha tena kaschana trasyate iti drishyate. So that is what is the guess of this Sutradhara. Trasyate nirvishankena kenachit papa chetasa. Punaha ekavaram nepatye bhostata konu khalu eshaha. Oh Father, who this is? He must have, that person who is uttering this must have seen a very terrifying figure in front of him. And then Sutradhara goes little bit far at the end, or near the Yavanika, near the Nepatya Yavanika, and then just peeping outside, he says, yes, I got to know who this person is. Hanta Dridham Vidnyatam. Hanta, this is an avyaya. It could be used for, this is an exclamation, okay? And this could be used in various, on various occasions. Hanta iti ascharye also, hanta iti bhaye also, hanta iti trase also. So many mixed emotions are there in hanta. Here, hanta, oh, now I understood. Now I understood. Dridham vidnyatam. I got to know what it is. Esha khalu Pandava Madhyamasya Atmajaha Hidimba Arani Sambhutaha Rakshasagnihi Akritavairam Brahmanajanam Vitrasayati. So this is Hidimba Rani Sambhutaha Pandava-madhyamasya Atmajaha. Basically, he is the son. Atmanaha jayate iti Atmajaha. And Atmanaha jayate iti stri yadi syat, kanya yadi syat, tarhi Atmaja. So Atmaja and Atmaja, it is like Tanaya and Tanaya, Tanuja and Tanuja. Okay. So Pandava-madhyamasya Atmajaha. This indeed is the son, the real son, not the adopted one. The Atmanaha jayate iti, the real son, bodily born, of Pandava-madhyama, that is Bhimasena. We have seen while discussing the title Madhyama-vyayoga, the word Madhyama, though in the 5 Pandavas it could apply to Arjuna, it is always used, mostly it is used, especially by Bhasa, to mean Bhimasena. Okay, so Pandava-madhyamasya Atmaja, I am sorry. Pandava-madhyamasya Atmaja, and born of whom? Of Draupadi? No. Hidimba Arani. Now Hidimba is a Rakshasi. She is the sister of Rakshasa Hidimba, whom Bhimasena had killed. Okay. Now Hidimba is talked of here. It's a Rupaka here. Hidimba is as if Arani. Now Arani is what? Arani is, the two like the sticks of wood, Shami and Ashwatha, through whose friction the fire is generated. So Arani, the friction of 2 Aranis, the lower Arani and upper Arani, and the friction of that, fire is generated in the sacrifice. Okay. So by giving Hidimba the Rupaka as Arani, the Kavi, the dramatist here, has sought a very great purpose, that Hidimba, though Rakshasi by birth, she is as pure and as noble, as sacred as the Arani which creates fire. Okay. So that is the Dhvani which the word Arani by Rupaka it signifies. Okay. And naturally, when there are 2 Aranis friction, what is created is fire. So who is the fire now? Rakshasagnihi. The fire in the form of this demonic figure, Ghatotkacha. Still the name has not occurred. But who is the son of Madhyama Pandava and Hidimba is Ghatotkacha, everybody knows. So by calling this Rakshasa also as Agni, again that sacredness, that divinity gets associated with Ghatotkacha. So right from the outset, we have a very positive vibe about the person who is coming here as Rakshasa Agnihi. So Rakshasagnihi Vitrasayati. He is frightening somebody. Whom he is frightening? Brahmana Janam. The Brahmana folks, the Brahmana people. Jana here is a group of Brahmanas, because we know that Brahmana, his wife and his 3 children are crossing through the forest. So Brahmana Janam Vitrasayati, and there is a Visheshana to Brahmana Jana, Akrita Vairam. Those who do not have any enmity to any person in the world, whosoever. Akritam Vairam Yaihi Tadrishaha Brahmanaha Tesham Kulam Ayam Rakshasagnihi Vitrasayati. So this fiery Ghatotkacha, the demon, is frightening the Brahmanas, who in fact don't have any enemies. They are Ajata Shatru. They poor fellows, the meek submissive fellows as they are. Konacha Adhyatna Madhyat in Marathi we call. So they don't cause any harm to anybody. For society, they are like, very Ajata Shatru type of people. And why should somebody come and frighten them like this, So Sutradhara but then identifies that he is Ghatotkacha, who is frightening the Brahmana folks. Bhoh Kashtam. Oh, what what a pity and what a great dilemma all these Brahmanas, the family is caught in. Atrahi, and then he describes the Brahmana family, and there is a very beautiful Upama Alankara here in the Vasanta Tilaka Vritta Tabaja Jagaga. Bhrantai sutai parivritas tarunai sadaraihi vruddho dvijo nishicharanucharassa eshaha vyaghranusara chakito vrishabhassa dhenuhu santrastavatsaka iva kulatamupaiti. Normally Vasanta Tilaka is used for the Panchakam etc., the Lalita Panchakam and all. This Vritta is used. Very beautiful Vritta, very gay. So, here he is described Vruddhaha Dvijaha Nishichara Anucharaha Sa Eshaha Bhrantaihi Sutaihi Parivritaha Tarunaihi and Sadaraihi. He is Vyagranusara Chakita Vrishabhasadhenuhu Iva Akulatam Upaiti. Basically, the main sentence is Vruddhaha Dvijaha Akulatam Upaiti. For Anvaya, for doing Anvaya of any shloka, try to find out the main sentence, the finite verb first of all, Akulatam Upaiti. He is confused, he is frightened. Akulatam Upaiti is frightened. Akulatam Vyagratam Upaiti Nama Adhigacchati Trasyate Trastah Bhavati. Vruddhaha Dvijaha. He is an aging, an old Brahmana. Nishichara Anucharaha. He is Nishichara Anucharaha. Nishichara is Nishachara, that is Rakshasa. Anugataha. Anucharaha Anugataha. Rakshasena Anugataha. Ayam sa eshaha vruddhaha dvijaha akulatam upaiti. Now this vruddha dvija is accompanied by sadaraihi. Daraihi, dara is the word for wife in Sanskrit, and it is nitya bahuvachana, and therefore daraihi is bahuvachana. It doesn't mean that he is accompanied by many wives. There is only one wife he is accompanied by. See, interesting, very interesting thing. Sanskrit, the language is such a beautiful, such a flexible language. My intention now, one of the intentions of starting this is always being a Sanskrit professor. Wherever there is an occasion, I will try to give you the beauty of Sanskrit. I will reach out, I will reach you with the beauty of Sanskrit and enriching language as it is. For wife, we have only WIFE, one word in English, and normally in all our regional languages we use Patni, Bharya and some other words. But every word, Patni, Bharya etc. are also used in Sanskrit, but every word has a different connotation. When we say Bharya, by etymology, she is a dependent upon her bharta, who does her bharana poshana. One who is taken care of, one who is nourished by her husband, that means she is economically a dependent woman. She can be called bharya. As against that, in the sacrifices, in the yajnas, it is always Yajamana and Yajamana Patni. We never call her Yajamana Bharya. Why? Patni is again from Pa, to protect, Pa to rule, as is the word of Pati. Patni is the ruler. She is independent. So it is Yajamana Patni. So Patni is an independent lady. Okay. Now this Patni, Bharya, etc., they are like Strilinga nouns. There is the Pullinga noun for wife, and that is Daraha. Daraha kasmat Bhratrin Darayati Vidarayati Vibhaktan Karoti iti Daraha. Very interesting etymology. Dhru Dharana is to separate, it is already always said that 3-4 brothers can stay together, until one of them gets married. one gets married and his wife will make a different samsara, वेगळं बिऱ्हाड, वेगळं व्हायचंय मला, So Bhratrin Daharayati, one who separates the brothers, is called Daraha. Okay, so that is just a kidding thing, but Daraha is a Pullinga Nitya Bahuvachana word used for wife who is feminine. A Pullinga, masculine word for a feminine, for a female, that itself is an interesting thing. Sanskrit language's beauty doesn't stop here. We have one more word for wife, and that is Napusakalinga. How can Napusakalinga be used for wife who is Strilinga? Obviously. But there is a word called Kalattaram. Kalattaram is Nitya Napusakalinga, Daraha is Pullinga, and Bharya, Patni, etc. are Strilinga. So this is the variety. This is the diversity, and this is the richness of Sanskrit language. So Sadaraihi, he is accompanied by Daraihi Sahitaha. Okay? Who else he is accompanied by or encircled by? Parivritaha. He is Parivritaha, Valayitaha, accompanied by or surrounded by Bhrantaihi, Tarunaihi, Sutaihi. Tarunaihi, Sutaihi, by his young sons, Suta. And they are Bhrant, they are confused. So they are Taruna, they are young, at the same time looking at this ferocious figure of the Rakshasa, they are frightened and they don't know what to do. King Kartavya Vimudha, therefore Bhrantaihi. So Bhrantaihi, Tarunaihi, Sutaihi, Parivritaha, Sadaraishcha, स एषः वृद्धः द्विजः निशिचर अनुगतः followed by the निशिचर आकुलताम उपैति. Okay, like what? Iva, there is upama sadharmyavachaka shabda, like vrishabha, like a vrishabha, like a bull, who is sadhenuhu, who is accompanied by dhenu. And sadhenuhu, dhenuhu, the commentator says here, sadhyaha prasuta gauhu dhenuhu iti uchyate. The dhenu, the cow who has delivered a vatsa, recently, a calf, recently, is called dhenuhu. So sadhenuhu and vyagranusara chakitaha vrishabha. This vrishabha is Vyagrena anusriyamanaha, anugamyamanaha, and therefore chakitaha bhayatrastaha. This bull, along with his wife and his calves, is going in the forest and he is being chased by a ferocious tiger. Vyagrena, Vyagranusara chakitaha vrishabha sadhenuhu. And then there is Santrastavatsakaha, not too many calves, one calf, because dhenu is Sadhya Prasuta Gauhu Dhenuhu iti uchyate. So just given birth to a calf, and therefore that Vatsaka, it's not only Vatsaka, Swarthe, Alparthe, Kan, or Kshudrarthe, Kan, for diminutive, suffix Ka is used. So this ka is used here. Similarly, like Kalidasa used Kvabata Harinakanam Jeevitam Chatilolam. He doesn't use the word Harina, he says Harinaka. Still get, what gets associated with that? The tenderness, the very youthful. Sadhya Prasuta Gauhu Dhenuhu, and just delivered baby, just delivered calf. So with that calf and with that Sadhya Prasuta Dhenu, if a bull is passing through the forest and he is being chased by a tiger who can any moment pounce on him, how frightened he would be. Similarly, this Vriddha Brahmana, and therefore he can't go fast, he is accompanied by his wife and 3 sons, very young, Tarunai, very young, and therefore this is a perfect upama, purna upama, with the upameya, upamana, vachaka shabda, and the bhava of upamana, the bhaya. So, santrastaha and vyagranusara chakitaha, and here nishichara, anucharaha, both give all the four elements of upama alankara are present, and therefore this is like a purnopama. So, iva akulatam upaiti. So, the Sutradhara has identified who will be coming next on the stage. This all is happening in Nepatya. What is happening on Nepatya? Bhostata konu khalu eshaha. And then Sutradhara identifies that he is a Brahmana. There are 3 sons and his wife, and they are being chased. They are being followed by a daemon, and this daemon also he identifies as Ghatotkacha. And now Sutradhara, he goes back, goes away, and the Sthapana or the Prastavana ends here. This is again another peculiarity of Bhasa, that instead of using the word Prastavana, he always uses the word Sthapana. So the internal evidences which we have discussed, Sthapana is one of the words which we discussed in that. Tatah pravishati. And now, since the entry is already indicated by Sutradhara, Tatah pravishati sutatraya kalatra parivrataha. I just talked about kalatra, the neuter gender word. Bhasa has used it here. Daraha he used there, and kalatra he has used here. So all the masculine and neuter and patni etc. words will be used elsewhere. So all the 3 words for the wife have been utilized by Bhasa. Tatah pravishati sutatraya, accompanied by 3 sons, and kalatra parivrataha, surrounded by all of them. Brahmanaha, Brahmana enters first along with his 3 sons and wife, and prishtataha, because he is nishichara anucharaha. Nishichara or the nishachara is following them, and prishtataha, following them enters Ghatotkacha. Ghatotkacha also enter. So all 5 of them make an entry on the stage. Then the Brahmana says again, Bho konu khalu eshaha taruna ravikara prakirnakeshaha bhrukuti putojjwala pingalayatakshaha satadidiva ghanas sakantha sutraha yuga nidhane pratimakritihi harasya. Brahmana describes him as if the pratimakritihi harasya. He is as if the akriti, a replica of Hara Shambhu, Shankara. Okay, harasya pratima akritihi eva. And why this hara especially is used and not any other word like bhava or else? Vishwa samharana shilasya harati sarvam vishvam aharati swasmin iti haraha nama shivaha. So ruh hara is the root. From the same root we have got hari, from the same root we have got hara. So vishwa samharana shilasya, when pralayavasthayam, at the time of deluge, yuganta kale, yuga nidhane. Yuga nidhane is the word which is used. Yuga nidhane, that is yuganta kale, pralayavasthayam, harasya pratimakritihi. Harasya pratimayaha akritihi iva, yasya akritihi tadrishaha ayam rakshasaha drishyate. Okay, and then there are some 3-4 very meaningful adjectives which are used. This is a long meter called Pushpitagra. Okay, and upama with upama alankara, he is compared with harasya pratimakritihi. How is he? Taruna ravi kirana prakirana keshaha. Tarunaha suryaha ravihi. Madhyannakalikah suryaha ravihi. Tasya kara kiranaha. Tasya kiranaha anshuhu iva prakiranaha keshaha yasya. As the Madhyamna-kala Surya, his rays are scattered all over the world because the entire world is illumined by the Madhyamna-kala Surya. Similarly, whose hair, because he is following in haste this Brahmana couple and the three sons, and therefore his hair are flying in the air, long hair, and therefore they are disheveled. Okay, so मध्याह्नकालिक सूर्यस्य किरण इव प्रकीर्णः केशः, though it is used as a singular here, you have to take it as jatau ekavachanam. It is not only one kesha, one hair which is flying in the air, it is the bundle, okay, the kuntala yasya saha. So I told you that this is the deviation from Mahabharata. Mahabharata, he is named as Ghatotkacha because there is no kacha on his head and his head looks bald like a inverted pitcher. Okay, so that is Mahabharata. But here, Nirankushaha Kavayaha. So Bhasa says he is equipped, he is possessed of full, hair rolling on his shoulder. So Prakirinaha Kuntalaha Yasyasaha. That is one adjective. Another adjective which is used is Bhrukuti Putojjvala Pingalayatakshaha. Bhrukuti Puta, Bhru Samputayoho Putam Ujjvalam Urdhvam Jvalaha Nama Deeptihi Yasmin Tat Katham Drishyate Pingalam Pitavarnam, it looks brownish, and Ayatam Vistrutam Cha Akshihi Nama Netram Yasya Saha. There are 2-3 different characteristics of his eyes. For his hair, the upama which is given is like scattered all over, like the Madhyamna-kalika Suryasya Kirana, like the rays of the noon sun. Okay, and now here his eye is ayata, okay, long, ayata, long, plus it is pingala, little brownish, pingala, pita, but with a brownish tinge. Like what? Like, when the fire gets ablaze, how it looks golden, brownish, like that. Bhru samputayoho ujjvalam. Bhru samputayoho ujjvalam, he has, shrinked his eyebrows. Bhruvoho putam sankuchitam kunchitam ataha, and therefore the anger in his eye, and how I can't catch hold of this Brahmana, and he has come in a haste chasing them, and therefore his eyes are not looking black, but they are like brownish red in color. Okay, so they are shining and they are reddish in color. They have got a reddish tinge like a fire which is ablaze. Bhrukuti Putojjvala Pingalayatakshaha. Then Satadid iva ghanaha Sakantha Sutraha. Satadid iva ghanaha. He looks like a ghana varivaha, that is jalada. How is this jalada? Satadit, Savidyut. Why? Because he is having Kantha Sutra. Kantha Sutra is some mala. He is wearing a necklace, not a garland. Kantha Sutra could mean a garland, but here it has to be glowing. It has to be a Suvarna Alankara. So a necklace, Kanthe Sutram, tat haraha iva. So because he is wearing that hara and he is dark in complexion, Rakshasa, dark in complexion and wearing a golden hara, he looks like a dark rain-bearing cloud in the midst of whom the Vidyut is shining. That shining Vidyut is the golden streak, it is like the hara, and the entire body is dark in color of the rain-bearing cloud. Similarly, this Ghatotkacha is dark complexion because he is Rakshasa, but just because he is wearing that golden ornament, he looks like Satadid Iva Ghanaha. And then the ferociousness, the ugratva of his form, it reminds the Brahmana of the pralayavasthayam sarvam vishvam aharati yaha saha haraha iva ayam rakshasaha drishyate bhasate. Okay. I hope this is clear. A long verse with 2-3 very significant adjectives and very different from his description of the Mahabharata. Then this is the description of the Rakshasa by Brahmana. Now all 3 sons will also describe him in their own capacity. Prathamaha Bhotat Konu Khalu Eshaha. This was the word which was heard by Sutradhara. Bhostat Konu Khalu Eshaha. And then he repeats he describes the Rakshasa. Graha Yugala Nibhakshaha Pina Vistirna Vakshaha Kanaka Kapilakeshaha Pita Kausheya Vasaha Timira Nivaha Varnaha Pandarodvritta Daunshtraha Nava Iva Jalagarbho Liyamanendulekhaha. Amalini Vritta, and again an Upama Alankara here also, Upama Alankara, because here also he is compared with Jalagarbha Liyamana Indulekhaha. Jalagarbha is Jalada, Jalam, Garbhe, Udare, Yasya, Saha. That is Jaladaha Varidharaha. So he looks like Nava Iva Jalagarbhaha. So Nava Iva Jalagarbhaha, who has Liyamana Indulekhaha. Indulekha, the digit of the moon, is as if, covered by this Jalada, like that he looks. For that we have to go above 3 lines we have to learn, so that the Upama becomes clear to us. Graha Yugala Nibha Akshaha. His 2 eyes, they look like 2 grahas, one Surya and one Chandra. Graha Yugala Nibha Akshaha. Surya Chandra Yoho Yugalam. Graha Yugalam. Tat Sadrisham Akshaha Akshini Yasya Saha Surya Chandravat Bhaswara Nayanaha. His eyes are shining. Chamkili aankhe hai. So his eyes are shining as if the 2 eyes are Surya and Chandra. Pina Vistirna Vakshaha. Rakshasa, robust built physic, So Pina, Sthula, Vistirna, Ayata, very broad. Vakshaha, Nama, chest, Udaram, Vakshaha, Uraha, Yasya, not Udaram, Uraha Yasya Saha. Kanaka Kapila Keshaha. He has golden brown hair. Kanaka Kapila Keshaha. Kanaka, Kanidiptau, and therefore Kanaka is called Kanaka, Suvarna is called Kanaka. It is called Suvarna because Shobhanaha Varnaha, yellow metal, looks so beautiful. And it shines, it glows, Kanidiptau, and therefore it is called Kanaka. So his hair are shining because they are golden brown in color. Kapila. Kanaka Kapila Keshaha. Pita Kausheya Vasaha. What is he wearing? Kausheya is the silk gotten from the silkworms. Kosha. Kosha is the cocoon. Okay. Kausheya is the thread of silk which is got from the kosha. So from the silk worms they make cocoons, and from the cocoons whatever silk thread is got, that is Kausheya. Pita Kausheya Vasaha. So he is wearing a pure silk of yellow color. Pita Kausheya Vasaha. Timira Nivaha Varnaha. He is as dark as, Ghani Bhuta Mandhakaramiva. Timira Nivaha. A mass of darkness gathered together. Timira Nivaha Varnaha. Pandara Udvritta Daunshtraha. And because he is very Timira Nivaha Varna, very dark complexion, and he has his Daunshtra, his canine teeth protruding out, white teeth, Pandara, whitish, two canine teeth, because he is Rakshasa, he is described in this manner. त्याचे दोन सुळे पांढरे बाहेर आलेले आहेत आणि therefore पुढची उपमा आहे लीयमान इंदुलेखः नव इव जलगर्भः दृश्यते. So the two white teeth protruding from his mouth, they look like the kala, the digit of the moon, but they get overshadowed by his whole darkness, the entire darkness of his body. This is similar to the digit of the moon getting covered by the Nava Jaladhara. Okay? So this is the upama which Liyamana Antarbhuyamana Chandrasya Lekha iva. So sometimes it looks, sometimes it doesn't look. Similarly, the Daunshtra, sometimes it is visible, sometimes due to the overwhelming darkness of his complexion, it gets overshadowed. So, Liyamana Indulekha. So, this is Malini Vritta, Nanamayaya and Upama Alankara again. This is the description echoing, what his father has described as Satadidiva Kanthasutraha. Here also he is Satadidiva Ghanaha. Similar upama is given by the first, the elder son. Dvitiyaha ka esha bhoho kalabha dashana daunstro langala karanasaha karivara karabahur neela jimuta varnaha huta huta vahadipto yasthito bhati bhimaha tripura pura nihantuhu shankarasye varosha. Both the sons are borrowing some or the other what you can say phrase and idea from what their father spoke. The elder son took Satadidivaganaha, the younger son takes Tripura Puranihantuhu Shankarasya Rosha from Yuganidhane Pratimakritihi Harasya. Okay. Brahmana, while describing Ghatotkacha, has given two similes. One is he looks like a dark cloud with lightning, the streak of lightning, because he is wearing the Kanthasutra. And another simile was because he is so ferocious and he is like any moment he will gobble up all the Brahmanas here, and therefore it is like Hara who is up to, withdrawing the entire universe in himself. Okay. So Dvitiyaha, but first he describes him physical, his physical attributes, they are described primarily. Kalabha Dashana Daunshtraha. His teeth, that again he has taken from his elder brother Pandarodvritta Daunshtraha. Kalabha Dashana Daunshtraha. So the teeth which are protruding outside, they look like the baby elephant's teeth. It's not a full grown up elephant who will have a long ivory tusk, outside. So little, the baby elephant will have little tusk coming out. So that is how it looks. Kalabha Dashana Daunshtraha. Kalabha is invariably a baby elephant. So Kalabha Dashana Daunshtraha. Langala Karanasaha. His nasika is so straight, like Langala, like a plowshare. Very straight and pointed like a plowshare. Langalakara nasaha. Karivara karabahuhu Neela Jimuta Varnaha. He is also describing him as Neela Jimuta. Jimuta is again Megha, Jalada, Jivanasya Mutaha Nama Kosha. Muta, which is Kosha, reservoir of Jivana, that is water. So Jimuta is again a cloud. Jimuta Varnaha, Neela Jimuta Varnaha. That is a rain-bearing cloud, very dark. Otherwise, there are clouds, white clouds also float. Sharadina Varshati Garjati, right? But this is not a white cloud. This is because he is dark in color and therefore Neelajimuta Varnaha. And Karivara Karabahuhu. His bahu are strong, rounded and stout like Karivara Kara. Kari, elephant. Karaha nama shunda asya asti iti karin nama gajaha. Vara, Karivara, the best elephant. His kara, his shunda. So karinam varaha karivaraha tasya karaha nama shunda hastaha tasya iva tam iva yasya bahu. Both his bahu, both his arms are long and rounded and stout and strong like the trunk of the best of the elephants. Karivara Karabahu. Neelajimuta Varnaha, and he is as dark as the dark rain-bearing cloud. Huta Vaha Huta Deepto. Huta Huta Vaha Deepto. Okay. What is Huta Vaha? Hutani, Ahutani, Vahati, Iti. So, one who carries the Ahuti. Okay. Hutaha Ahutihi Vahati. Devebhyaha yaha aharati saha hutavah nama agnihi. Havyavahana, havyam vahati iti havyavahana, hutam vahati iti hutavah. So, hutavah deeptaha. The hutavah in which something is offered, a ghee is offered or some oblations are offered, then the hutavah agni becomes prajvalita. When the offerings are offered, it becomes prajvalita. So, huta vahadiptaha, that means he is shining like an ablazed fire. Okay? Huta vahadiptaha. Yasthitaha bhati bhimaha. He looks terrible. He is not Bhima as Bhimasena here. Okay? Bhima is Bhayankara. Bhima is Bhayankara. So, yasthito bhati bhimaha, bhayankara, terrific, terrifying, tripura pura nihantuhu, shankarasyeva roshaha. He is as if the wrath, W-R-A-T-H, wrath, the anger of Shankara personified in this form. Shankarasya iva roshaha. Iva utpreksharthe. Here iva is utpreksha. Otherwise it is upama. Huta vahadiptaha is upama. And kalabhadashana daunshtraha etc. are upama. Shankarasyeva rosha. Because rosha is an abstract feeling. How can it be personified? But here still the imagination of the poet personifies it, and therefore it is imaginary. It is praudhokti, and therefore it is utpreksha. So, Shankarasya roshaha iva. And how is Shankara? Shankara is otherwise Yogi Raja. He is very calm and quiet in his dhyana mudra. This Shankara is the killer of Tripura, of the Tripura Asura. And therefore he is enraged. He is wrathful. He is in full of his warrior spirit, and therefore he is angry. Otherwise Shankara is calm, right? So, Tripura pura nihantuhu Shankarasya roshaha iva bhimaha bhayankaraha ayam huta vaha paridiptaha sthitaha bhati. So, he has made a very picturesque description of Ghatotkacha, starting with his physical description, how is his nasa, like a long and piercing and straight like a langala, and his downshtra like just protruding, because the canine teeth will not be so long as the tusk of the elephant, therefore it can't be karivara downshtra, okay, and therefore it is kalabhadashana. See the propriety of using for bahu he is using karivarakara, for downshtra he is using kalabhadashana. That is the propriety, that is the auchitya of Mahakavi. So many detailing things, these are the nuances, but then one has to take into consideration all these. So this is Utpreksha, and Malini, again Malini Alankara. We'll see the third verse and then we'll stop perhaps today. So Tritiyaha, he also describes Ghatotkacha in his own manner. Bhostata, Konu khalu ayam asman pidayati. He is the youngest one. Why he is, and who is this fellow who is frightening us? Vajrapataha achalendranam shenas sarva patatrinam mrigendro mrigasanghanam mrityuh purusha vigraha. Being the youngest, he describes him in a very simple chanda anushtup. No Malini, no Shikharini, no Vasanta Tilaka, not Pushpitagra at all. Okay, the long ones, he is the youngest one. That is again a propriety. This is also a propriety. Auchitya. So Vajra, he looks like a Purusha Vigraha Mrityuhu. He is Mrityu incarnate. Vigraha, having a form, embodied. Death embodied as a Purusha standing in front of us. Mrityuhu Purusha Vigraha. He is like Mrigendraha Mrigasanghana. He looks like a lion pouncing, ready to pounce on the herd of these harinas, the deer, So the deer are grazing, and on the this harina youth, as a lion would pounce, he is looking like that because they all form a youth here. They all form a group. Mrigendro Mrigasanghanam Pashu Samuhanam Krite Simhaha iva Ayam Mrityuhu Sakshat Purusha Rupena Agrataha Tishtati. He is also Shenaha Sarvapatatrina. If for the animals, for other animals and especially the deer, he looks like a Simha. For other birds, Sarvapatatrina, he is like a Shena, like a hawk. Very fierce. Shenaha Pakshi Visheshaha Yaha Swapakshaghatena Mahatapikhat Patayati Iti Bhavaha. He obliges other Pakshis, to drop their courage and fall from the Akasha because of his very, what you can say, aggressive attack on these birds. So Shena is a very aggressive, hawk is a very aggressive, very fierce type of bird. So he looks like a looks like a hawk for other birds. He is like a lion for other animals. He is Sakshat, Mrityu, taking the form of a Purusha. One more Visheshana, Vajrapataha Achalendranam. Achalendranam, Achalas are the Parvatas, and he looks like, a Vajrapata for Giriraj, Achala Indranam. So all the Brahmana folks, they are having Achala Nishtha on their Sanatana Dharma. They are doing their Yajana, Yajana, Adhyana, Adhyapana, Dana, Pratigraha, etc. Shadvidha Karma. And poor fellows, they are not bothering anybody, they are not harassing anybody, but he has come from nowhere and hitting them hard like Vajra falling on the mountains. So Vajrapataha Achalendranam Shenas Sarva Patatrinam Mrigendro Mrigasanghanam Mrityuhu Purusha Vigraha. So this is what he looks like. This is the description of the third, the youngest Brahmana Putra. Each one has tried to describe him, but the gist of all these descriptions, the four of the descriptions which we saw of the Brahmana and the three sons, one thing is clear, that he has come as a death for them. So everybody is frightened, everybody is afraid, and they don't know how to run away from him and whom to call for help in this dense forest, which is infested by only the wild animals and people and the demons like him, and there won't be any Manushya Vasti nearby. So who will come as a savior? And so therefore there is no other go but to succumb to him, but to surrender him and get death at his hands. So that is the what their bhiti, their santrasa for them. Brahmani, she just explains in one line, Arya Ka eshaha asman santapayati. From where has he come? All of a sudden, we were about to reach the other end of the forest in no time now, and here in the midst we are caught. Ka esha, Arya. She will, because she is, Bharya, dependent upon the Brahmana, she is looking up to her husband to be protected by him. Ka esha asman santapayati. Now the description of Ghatotkacha by all the four of them has been done, and now it is the turn of Ghatotkacha to address and start the conversation hereon. And so Ghatotkacha will say, Bho Brahmana, Tishtha, Tishtha. Where are you running away? You can't run away from me. Bho Brahmana, Tishtha, Tishtha. So you also, Tishtha, Tishtha, till next Sunday. Okay? We'll see you next Sunday. Till then, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. See you next Sunday. Hari Om till then.